You're live.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, before I open the meeting for everybody, councillors, I'd like to mention that it's been in the local press that a local parish councillors, I think it is, have been suspended because they did not declare their interest in an application or any part of that meeting that they had an interest in. So can I advise all of you that if you have an interest in any of the items that we're going to discuss tonight, please declare it, and Lee will arrange for it to be entered in the book at some time. So it's your chance to now declare any interest before we move on.
Can I just say, Terry, that I think that our councillors are very good at making sure that they do this. And he's very quick to point it out as well. And I know that the particular councillors, they have never bothered with that item on their agenda. No one has ever declared an interest for back into the 7th. So I think that you know, it's good that we should be reminded of this because it is a legal requirement.
Yes, of course.
I am quite proud of our council in that they do follow the rules.
Thank you, Rana. I'm sure you're right, but as you also said, it's my responsibility and the clerk to remind you every so often that you must declare any interest that you have in the items that we discuss. Thank you very much, Rana. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open the meeting, and it's apologies for absence. Lee.
Dot Pullen. John Bevan. Paul Warrington.
Thank you. Right, to receive any declarations of interest in the agenda items from councillors.
Okay, I've received one for Paul Warrington.
Okay.
That's in relation to the quote we've received from him for item 10.1.
Okay, have you arranged for him to?
Yes.
Any others, please, councillors? Okay, thank you very much. Consider any written applications for dispensation. There is none, is there, Lee? Or
No, none received.
okay. Opportunity for visiting speakers to address the council and the public in attendance. And I'd like to ask Bob to take over from here now, please. Bob, we can't hear you, Bob. You're muted. Bob, you're muted. Bob, you're muted.
Bob, you're muted.
Could you
hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, can you start again, please?
We've been given various dates for the infrastructure plan, and with a number of meetings, and the final decision looks as though it'll be early in December. So it's very slow moving. So there we are. The A438, I'm sure you're all proud of a nice road we've got now. So that's something we've achieved over the last few months. Can I speak about the planning application now, Chairman?
Yes, Bob. Can you go back to what you was discussing first of all, because we didn't hear it, with regard to infrastructure?
The first bit, all I said, I just repeated it. It was about the infrastructure, Terry.
Okay.
So I repeated that after I put the mute on. So now, I know this application for 100 houses. I think we all know that parcel of land has been earmarked for development for a good many years. And now we're having to deal with it, and with all applications, with its complications and arguments that we usually get. I've gone into a lot of detail with officers and various bodies today to try and prepare something for you tonight. This is an outline application that seeks permission for the principal development up to 100 dwellings, access, vehicle and pedestrian. Also, other matters, layout, scale, appearance and landscaping are reserved for future consideration and would require a reserved matters application if the outline planning permission is granted. Reserved matters applications are subject to consultation and publicity, including the Parish Council and the normal procedures. The key issues on this site have been the suitability of the proposed pedestrian cycle footway between the site and Centurion Way, drainage and the relationship with MOD camp. I will deal with access first of all. Plans and a legal opinion has been provided by the applicant to demonstrate that the proposed footway to Centurion Way can be achieved on land that they have the legal ability to control. The most recent set of plans on the website, dated the 5th of the 10th, 20, have been based on a topographical survey. This was delayed due to the COVID restrictions. A period of 14 days was given for comment, which expires today. Emails, letters were sent out to number 36 and 39 Centurion Way, and the Parish Council were notified. I have not yet received the highways officer's comments, and to date there is no record on any file that further objections have been received. Provided that the highway officer is satisfied that the proposed footway link is achievable and suitable for such use without impinging on the ability of numbers 37 and 39 Centurion Way to access their parking areas, it is considered that the scheme would provide suitable connectivity from the site to the village amenities. Given that there is some degree of legal uncertainty with regard to the applicant's right of way over the land and not included in the buyback mechanism in the conveyance, it's considered that a pre-commencement condition is appropriate, requiring the footway to be provided prior to the commencement of the works, i.e. erection of any dwellings, and the applicant has agreed to this. Drainage. Welsh Water have confirmed that a foul water drainage connection to a specified manhole reference would ensure that the scheme is acceptable. I've alluded them to the problems that we've raised and previously raised concerns about foul drainage, overspills, etc. to the southwest of the site, and they have confirmed that the foul waste from the applicant's site would not pass through the part of this system that's been complicated in the past. Welsh Water are content that the sewer network has the required capacity for this development. Surface water would be the SUDS and Council Land Drainage Engineer has no objections to the details submitted. This has also taken into account land drainage from the road and has been designed to divert that water into the site. This should be again compared to the current situation where it has flowed into the grounds and property to the east of the site. The drainage strategy is considered acceptable, subject to conditions in respect of the more technical details, and that will be forthcoming with the reserved matters application. The MOD, although the EHO considers that it would have been helpful for a noise assessment to have been submitted prior to the determination to address noise from the shooting range and generators, as the applicant has declined to do so in these specific circumstances, it is the opinion that these matters then can be dealt with at the reserved matter stage. This view is based on the opinion that refusal of permission of noise grounds alone would not be defendable on appeal. Representations. Following the initial publicity of the application, we have notified local residents, neighbours, when amended plans have been received. In total, 46 objections have been received. Some objectors have submitted more than one objection, 5 comments and 1 support. As advised above, no further comments have been logged for the latest amended plans. Overall, nearly finished, overall, subject to the Highways Officer's comments in respect of the footway link, it is considered that the scheme would meet policy requirements in light of the 5-year housing land supply shortfall, and the NPPF states that the development should be approved without delay where the development plan is up to date, and where it is not, permission should be granted unless any adverse impacts would significantly and demonstrably outweigh the benefits. In this case, the benefits outweigh the modest negative impacts of this site. So that's basically an update on it. I know it's a lot of jargon, but basically why I said that to you members is that they're asking for delegated powers. And why I went through all that, because when I've discussed it with Ed's department and Welsh Water, etc., sadly, there's, apart from the footway into Centurion Way, which we're all concerned about, but that's been left aside until that's resolved. But the rest of it, there's nothing on there that we could defend on appeal. If we refused it, it would go straight through an inspector's appeal. I've been assured by some of the senior planning officers and different people today that that's the case. So there's nothing on there, folks, that sadly that we can do much about. The only issue left is the entrance up Centurion Way, and of course that has to be sorted out. And if not, another access is going to be found, because until something's approved, the application can't go away. I think it's fair to say that the Parish Council and myself and everybody spent a lot of time on this to try and address the issues and the concerns of the local residents. Applications like this are always frustrating and annoying, but as I say, that apart from the access into Centurion Way, Chairman, the rest of it, there's nothing, everything, every head of department would, if it goes to council, if it went to the inspector, they would support it. So we've got little or no grounds for refusal on that. So I'd like your views on that. And as I said, the application into Centurion Way will be left and as a pre-commencement condition, and that will have to come back and be dealt with as and when it's resolved. If it's not, other alternative arrangements will have to be made. Thank you.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Bob for his long appraisal of what has been going on with this application, and everything that he has said I do support. However, the taste of not being able to sort out the entrance into Centurion Way is still bitter in the mouth. But he's quite right in saying that application for this site was tentatively discussed back in a good few years ago, and that site was always designated for housing at some time. And there was also, it was supposed to be a road go through, so in some ways we're quite lucky, but others won't see it that way. So I'd like to ask if anybody else has got anything to say to Bob on what he has said so far.
Terry, do you want me to read the
email? Can I just see if there's any comments on what Bob has said, and then we can move on to that straight away. Thank you, Lee. No, nobody's got anything to say. Okay. No, nobody. Okay, Lee, if you could read the letter or the email that we received today from the developers.
Okay, so
outlining what he's got to say.
So I've received an email from the applicant to read out. So I'll just read it as it's said. The legal advice in the form of a QC's opinion, known as Council's opinion, provided to Herefordshire Council confirms that the applicants do have a legal right of way in the route of the title with Persimmon Homes, the developers of Centurion Way. I understand that this is reflected in the deeds of 38 and 39 Centurion Way. It is unfortunate that this may not be reflected in the current deeds of 37 Centurion Way, but this does not affect the legality of the applicant's right of way. The original design for the development of Centurion Way was to provide a vehicular access to adoption standards through Centurion Way into this site. The applicants are now proposing only pedestrian and cycle access into Centurion Way, and this has been demonstrated by the latest set of drawings, the subject of this consultation to be deliberated. The applicants are advised by their consultant team that all remaining matters have been resolved to the satisfaction of the various statutory consultees, the details of which will be dealt with at the reserved matters application in the usual way. I trust that this sets out our position for the applicants, and I very much hope the Parish Council will now be able to support this deliverable proposal for much needed family homes and affordable housing. So I just want to go back and just clarify what the first point means with regard to the legal aspects and my understanding of it. So when Persimmons brought the land off the current applicant, there was a requirement to pass on covenants onto all of the properties, 37, 38 and 39, to allow access onto the adjoining land. When Persimmon sold the last property, number 37, they did not actually put in the legal document, in the deed, that covenant. So essentially it's either been done as a clerical error, let's leave it at that. So essentially what could happen is they would go back, and then there would be a chain of events that would mean that that covenant gets put back on. Obviously it is up to the property owner of number 37 to deal with their legal side of that, because clearly that has an effect on their property value.
Okay, is that it, Lee?
Yeah.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, is there any comments you'd like to make on what Lee has just read out to you?
Lee, can I ask a question?
Chairman, if I could just come briefly back in. Of course, as I said, that's going to be a condition, so that's got to be satisfactorily sorted out before any development can go ahead.
Yeah.
So all we're talking about now is the application for outline, not including that access. That still has got to be sorted out.
Yeah, okay. Andrew?
Have you had any recent correspondence from number 37 as to their position on this? Have we had any feedback from them at all?
We have had a email with their what they have said to the County Council, and if you go onto the County Council website, you can read through it, but they are still disputing it and taking it further. So
okay.
Anybody else, please?
Sorry, can I just
Yes,
highlight the fact that obviously I take on board all of the comments. That's fine. That exists. I would just still like to say that I am disappointed that it is still very much on the card. Again, I just want that documented, because I have said that all the way through. As I say, previously, I think it was, I'd said that there should then be a direct path into the school at the back of the school there.
Yeah.
So it's just so then it's crystal clear. I'm disappointed with that, but I don't have any issue with that. The properties it is just that access into Centurion Way, and it's just so that then that is crystal clear and documented my feelings on it. So that's all I have to say on it.
That will go into our minutes.
Lovely, thank you so much.
Just going back to the school side of it, I'm led to believe that the applicant did approach the school with asking if they could have part of the land to put a road through there, and the school quite blankly said no. So I think that's the reason why they pushed ahead with how it stands at the moment. Okay, anybody else, please?
Hi, Plod here. Yeah, I listened to what Bob said there, with great interest. It seems the matter is now a legal matter about rights of way and so on and so forth, and that everything else is, it's kind of a slam dunk because it fits the profile of everything else. There is clearly still some upset by certain parishioners who are clearly affected, and other people in the village that I've had a course to speak to are kind of ambivalent about the whole thing and would rather it would go away, so to speak. If we can't object, is there a position where we don't necessarily support it, but we can't object?
Well, I think you will see in our previous comments to the County Council, we've made that quite clear. Having said that, and now we're at the stage where they've covered all the aspects and conditions that need to apply, with the exception of Centurion Way. Now, they've asked for our support. Now, we can either say, okay, we support you, or we can turn around and say, no further comments. But I think it would be the right thing to do as to say we will support it as long as the legal matters are sorted out with 37 Centurion Way. I can't, as Bob has quite rightly said, I can't see that we will achieve anything if we try to say anything else, because it will be ignored. I don't mean ignored in as much as ignored, go away. I mean it will be not used in any form or part of the application. So we've got to the opportunity to either support it with the conditions that we say, or we just say no further comments. And we can either discuss that now or further on in the planning, but I prefer we get it out of the way.
My point was exactly that, Terry, in so much as that there seems to be a feeling in the village, and I'll put it no greater than that, and certainly some of the parishioners, if it comes down to support or object as being the only two choices that we have, then probably we have to go with support. But if there's a support or a no further comment or abstain as in that mix as well, then in respect to our parishioners who are themselves objecting, I'm trying to sort of plead a middle way, if you like, if that's available to us.
Okay, well, if you read back through the minutes and so forth, we've already done that as a parish council, and I, for one, and Bob, have always made it quite clear that we support the parishioners, and we've done that all the way along. But unfortunately, we've got to a stage now where our support won't make any difference. You can't object anymore because it will go through without your objection or your support, it will still go through. I'm talking through experience, and Bob's talking through experience, and they've met all the conditions with the except of the legalities of 37 Centurion Way.
Terry, if I could come back, please.
Yes, Bob, please.
You know, and I know, we all listen to and we're very concerned about the feelings of the residents in Centurion Way.
Absolutely.
But what we're dealing with at this stage is the outline planning permission for the site itself. The point I was making, that on every department, and Welsh Water and everyone else is saying there's no problems, they can support it. We can't object to that, because it'll immediately get kicked out because there's no grounds for appeal. So, I mean, that's the point I'm making. It isn't to neglect our residents. We want to look after them, and we've still got iron in the fire with access into Centurion Way. Because if it turns out that it's not deliverable, the site can't go ahead, and they've got to look for alternatives. So all I'm asking you to give me some sort of guidance on tonight is the actual site, the outline for the site itself, not the access into Centurion Way. As the previous speaker said, you're quite right, and we've got to listen and support our residents, which we've always done. Yes. And we'll continue to do so. But we've got no grounds, no planning grounds to refuse the outline planning application as it's presented now, with a condition that that issue has to be resolved before the developer goes ahead.
Thank you, Bob. Right, ladies and gentlemen,
Mr. Chairman, if I could just come back on that, could we offer no objection in the sense that we don't object to it, which is the point, but I'm cautious that we don't go, yeah, we support it because there's nothing else we can do. So if
But that goes back to what I said. If we go back and say we have no further comments to make, that's the same thing.
Yes. Okay.
At the end of the day, they've met all the conditions and so forth, with the exception of 37 Centurion Way. I don't know.
Yeah.
What I was going to do was I was going to take a vote on it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could put your hands up, please, if you want us to reply with a support. If you could put your hands up, please, if you want us to do that.
Chairman, just before you take the vote, I would like some guidance from you as a parish council, because they'll come back to me as ward member to do it under delegated powers, you see. So I would be obliged if you could, say that on what's before us today, no objections, but we still have grave concerns about the access onto Centurion Way or something like that.
Would you prefer that then support or no?
Yeah, well, or support, whichever, but if you understand what I'm saying, I'd like to know exactly, I don't like going ahead without some sort of clarification and support from you as a parish council.
So could you say that again, Bob, please?
Yeah, if you say, you've got no objections to the outline planning permission as submitted, but you've still got grave concerns about the access problems entering from the site into Centurion Way, and that you'll be very monitoring the situation very carefully to see that that's satisfactorily resolved.
Yeah. Is everybody? Can I have a show of hands then for everybody that support Bob's comments? One abstention, is that, Andrew?
Yeah, only on the grounds, is there a point in doing this? From what Bob's saying, whatever we do, they're going to go ahead anyway.
Well, it's a matter of procedure, Andrew, and I think it's the right thing to do. So, okay.
Bob needs support from the council to go ahead, essentially.
Yeah.
So Bob needs the support of the parish council to go ahead and say that they support the application.
Yeah.
But with a proviso that we still have grave concerns about the access.
So the reserve matters.
We will expect that to be satisfactorily resolved before any development starts here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully aware that this strip of land has always had a potential for building, and we're always going to do it at some stage. I get that. I'm just,
you've been on the parish council, I believe, since then. So, like myself, we've got great knowledge of it.
Yeah, and so I am aware of that, and in that respect, we haven't got an awful lot of choice because it's always been, that's the only area in the village where they could feasibly build on. It's just, I think, as you say, we put the proviso in that it's just the access into Centurion Way. So I'd be happy to proceed with that regarding that.
You are happy?
With regarding that, but yeah.
Okay.
So bear in mind, Chairman, it's got to come back under reserved matters.
Okay.
So then you'd have an opportunity then to make further queries or queries or comments then. So you can have a second bite at it then, because it's got to be approved at that stage. The reserved matters have got to be approved, and that condition's got to be also sorted out. So that's not giving them the right to go into Centurion Way. They still have to come back with a satisfactory solution.
Okay. Are you happy with that now, Bob? You've got the support of the parish council.
Yeah. Yes. I'll just tell them that as far as the site itself concerned, because of there's no planning reasons for refusal. I've been through all the heads of department, and regretfully there's no planning reasons which we could oppose, because they just wouldn't stack up. So we haven't got much choice with that, regretfully. But the other issue, we'll have to monitor that and keep a close eye on that.
Okay, Lee.
Just a point of order. We need a parish councillor to propose it, not someone to second it.
Thank you very much. Can I have a councillor to propose that then, please? Did you?
I propose that we give Bob our support to tell the council that we have no objections at this time, no further objections at this time, no further comments, but wording to be decided. But we are, exactly as Bob said, very keenly aware that the reserved matters are of great import to our parishioners.
Okay, could I have a seconder as well, please? Okay, thank you, Dina. Sorry, Dina.
I was carefully wording that there, that I on behalf of the parish council, I'm just listening to folks. I don't think the parish council supports the application, but hey, we've exhausted all of the possible avenues. It's going to happen.
I don't think we've actually said that. We've given our county councillor the support that he needs.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah.
To follow up our anything with respect to president.
Support is for Bob.
Okay. Lee, are we happy with that now?
Yeah, that's above board and everything now.
Thank you very much for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I think if we'd have refused it, it'd have gone to appeal. They'd have rubber stamped it straight away.
It would have cost a lot of money.
That aspect of it, sadly, we haven't got much choice.
Okay. Right. Anything else, Bob?
No, I think that's it, Chairman. I'll stay with you for a little while. But,
okay, lovely.
I've had, and my iPad's not playing up. It's playing up, but I'll stay a little while because I've been on Zoom most of the day, so I'm getting a bit tired.
We're quite happy because we can only see half of your head. So. We've got the talking bit, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing.
Okay, we now move on. We move off onto public question time. Lee, have we anything through the
I just wanted to ask Bob about the flood report that we did. Did you get anywhere with getting that funded by Parish Council?
I'm sorry, Lee. I spoke to the director, Richard Ball, and he promised me faithfully he'd be give me back and give me some information for you tonight. And of course, I tried to contact him today, and he wasn't available. He was up in Birmingham. Okay. So I haven't given up on that. I think it's appalling that the parish councils having to carry the burden of that culvert. Yeah. After all, it's under. Are you talking about the culvert, Lee? Are you?
Pardon? The culvert, yes. The report. We just want the report paying for, basically.
That's right. Yeah. As I said, I did ask him. I'll chase it up tomorrow and let you know, Lee.
Yeah. Right, going back to 4.
The only other thing is we haven't heard from Bruce Evans either regarding the bus pulling. We didn't get anything in writing from him. No public question.
He did. I had a quick word with the chairman today. That's something which we've got to get sorted out, and because that's been an ambition of mine, as Terry knows, for a good many years, to not only get something safer for the bus, but also to tidy up, smarten up that little bit of stretch of road there, because it's the main flow past the village, and it's a little bit scruffy. So it'd be nice to get that done and get it tidied up. So again, I'll speak to the chairman about it, and we'll try and get something moving on that.
Yeah, but the parish council gave their comments on it, Bob. Yeah, and we stick by our comments.
Yeah, all right,
I'll it's up to the highways to make their decision. Yeah, it's not our decision.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll tell Bruce Evans, look, that you want to know one way or the other because you want something done.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll spend the money. Right. Public question times.
I'll visit you in Gloucester.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll fix the culverts with it. Yeah. No questions on Facebook, Nextdoor, or on YouTube. So
okay, thank you very much.
If anybody is watching and would like to post a question, we have another question time at the end of the meeting. So if you just put a comment at the bottom of one of those 3 feeds, and then I'll pick it up at the end of the meeting for the councillors to answer.
Okay, we now move on to item 5, to approve and sign the minutes as a true record of the ordinary parish council meeting held on the 16th of September 2020. Sorry about my squeaky voice. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Could I either have any comments, or could I have a proposal and a seconder that it is a true record? Bearing in mind that you were at that meeting at the time. Thank you, Bex. Thank you, Paul. There we go, folks. I signed it. Thank you. Okay, we now move on to a confirmation of the bank balance, receipts, invoice. I've lost it. And comparison to budgets.
Yep. So I'll try and whiz through this. Just moving out of the way. Okay, so we finished the period with £89,178.87 in the bank. During the period, the reason why that's gone up so much, we've received the second half of the precept, as well as a small amount of interest. That's £21,975.50. We've had some CCN advertising monies in, the IT guy, MDR Electrical, and Brian Jenkinson Foot Health. During the period, all of the payments that were approved at the last meeting have gone out, as well as the monthly Nest pension contribution and the electricity for the changing rooms. We transferred £3,000 during the period. from the reserve to the current account. Payments to authorise. During the period, we've had the embankment fence and repairs done at the rear of the community hall and the social club, which is further down on the cheque, so that's £4,020. That was previously authorised. Our budget was £5,000 total for that. That includes VAT. So, but before we could start, I had to get a wasp nest treated because there was a wasp nest in the embankment, so I got the wasp guys out to do that. £59. Hereford Fire Protection Services have done our fire extinguisher service at the resource centre, £59.07. The external audit completed, that was £360. The CCN printing for October, £254. The last payment for high ground maintenance for grass cutting, £702.66. Craig Powell, £534. My expenses, £225.69. That's high this month because I paid for some paint for some of the projects we're doing on the maintenance list, and 2 lots of moss treatment for the roofs of the community hall and the resource centre. Terry's already looked at and approved the expenses. Wages £633.60. HMRC £8.28. The embankment fence £4,020, which I've already spoke about. And then the isolated repairs on the Roman Park to the fence, which we had budgeted last year, and it's just taken this long for them to get the materials. To fund that, we need to move another £7,000 from the reserve account to the current account, and that will leave us with £81,752.57. This is a big month for CCN advertising invoicing. We've invoiced several there for their annual fees, so they're not due yet, but the Gath Higgs tree services, that's overdue now, so I'll chase that, and if he doesn't pay up, then we'll drop the advert. I've done the VAT claim for the last 6 months, and actually that's come into the bank now, so that's that done. Liabilities, we've got a few, the normal creditors that aren't due yet, like web hosting, Citrix, WebEx, the trade waste quarterly, water bill, 6 months water bill. And actually we haven't used any water at the changing rooms. Electricity, and for some reason they didn't take the direct debit last month, so I think it's because it was an estimate, so that'll go out this month, the full amount. And then the car park, and then the changing rooms is the normal £15 odd. We're holding on to several reserves of monies that isn't necessarily ours. So defibrillator fund, that hasn't moved in the period. Nest pension, that'll go out during the period. The deposit for the resource centre, nursery, and the youth club funds. Then obviously we've started building up an amount of VAT that we'll claim in March next year. So total liabilities £1,340.54. So that leaves our cash position at the moment of 82,000. Of that money, we're holding on to 38,863.09, which is to do with the bus pull-in. And then we've got various reserves that we've that aren't restricted, but we've earmarked. So Roman Park, we've got £4,772 for any repairs, maintenance, etc. In fact, I reported at the last meeting about, or possibly the meeting before, about some play equipment that had been damaged, and I've managed to get that repaired under warranty, because a lot of the equipment that was put in on the park was under warranty still. So I thought we were going to have to spend £1,000 of this on that repair from vandalism, but I've managed to get the part for free. culverts, we've got 13,900, and hopefully Bob will get us that £1,100 back from Hereford Council at some point. We need to do the planning application on the Roman Park. That's been outstanding for a while, for the changing rooms. Embankment repairs, as I say, we've done that now. We've still got some funds available from that budget. We need to put in some topsoil because the soil at the back isn't level, so we need to just backfill and then seed. Or I did think maybe you could put a flower bed or something along that fence line, perhaps. Litter bins, that project's complete, and then we'll spend to go out there. Land registry, 1,500 left in that budget, and £1,000 for signs. I've started a conversation with ABC Printing, who do signs as well, so hopefully at the next meeting I'll have some ideas and quotes for you on that. Repairs and maintenance, we've still got £2,162 in that budget. So that means we've got earmarked funds of 63,873, which leaves us with 18,559, which is the operating costs, like things like wages and hedge cutting and things like that, which will be done between now and the end of the year. Comparison to budget. So I'll quickly whiz down this because we're pretty much as we have been for the year, with very just small differences. So slightly over there, slightly under here, £100. We made that saving on the CCN by not printing it 1 month, but also we reduced the printing costs. Hang on a sec, I've lost it. The insurance and so on, we've got a slight saving of £79 at the moment within those budgets. The electricity, water and gas, there's a slight saving of £90 against budget there, year to date. Litter picking and general maintenance and cleaning. Again, there's a slight saving because Craig didn't work for the COVID period. So at the moment, the budget to date is 16,166 on operating costs, and we've only spent 14,688. So we're currently 1,478. Where we have overspent is on the charitable provision. We've overspent by just under £5,000. £2,500 of that was the COVID lunches we provided, and so that leaves us with the savings on the embankment so far. That leaves us overspent 3,483. So year to date we're overspent by 2,000. However, we've had the extra 10,000 in for the COVID grant, so we're actually up £8,310 at the moment on year to date. That's it on finance, I think. Yes, Terry.
Thank you very much, Lee. Comments, ladies and gentlemen? No, I'm just going back, make sure I've not got anybody. Okay, can I have a proposal then that the financial report that 616263 is passed as a true record and correct? A proposer, please.
Andrew,
Andrew, and a second, please. Martin. Thank you.
Chairman, I'm going to leave you now. Lee, if anything crops up, let me know and I'll follow it up.
Thank you, Bob.
And I'll chase up that culvert money tomorrow.
Yes, please, in cash.
Thank you. Good night, all.
In cash. You're coming to Gloucester Jail with me, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. We move on to planning. 81 Eckroyd Park, that's been approved. The objectors said, well, we didn't expect anything else. Anyway, that's been approved by the council, and just watch this space. Reconsultation, I think we've discussed that enough, unless anybody has got anything further to say, but I think, in my view, it would be unwise, but you're quite welcome to speak. Anybody? No. All right, Credenhill Town Well. Paul emailed us with regard to this because we received the application. What it is, it's a listed building, and they are bringing the building up to modern day living, but being sensitive at how they do it. Nonetheless, they still have to go through the planning procedure to get permission. I think this is the second one they've done, and they've done windows and that. Any comments on that? No. No. So we're happy with that then. We support it then, Lee, on that one.
Okay, yeah. I think we should. I mean, I think they've sympathetically improved that building. It looks fantastic compared to what it did. This application, all it's doing is adding a second bathroom to the top floor, the third floor. Yeah. Now, to access the third floor, you have to go up a separate staircase. Yeah. So there's no toilet. So to get to the toilet, the bathroom, you have to go from the top floor to the bottom floor, 3 floors, and then up 2 flights of floors, the other floors, to get to the other. To get to the main bathroom. So it makes complete sense. They're not actually altering any of the listed features, so I think if councillors are happy to support, then I will do that. Okay,
we are happy to support that. I didn't have any dissent on that, so yes, it's a super building. I've been inside it, and yeah, it certainly takes you back upstairs, downstairs. And as you said, they've done a lot of work on tidying up the site, and I just think it looks really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I'm glad we've supported that. Can we move on, Lee?
Sorry.
Next slide, please. Right. Finance. Andrew, myself, and Martin. We need to get together soon to think about the next precept. But having said that, we need all the parish councillors also to get their thinking caps on to give us a lead on what they think we should be doing in the village for the next financial year. So that's all we've got on finance. Has anybody got anything to say on that? Lee, did we set a date, didn't we, the 10th?
Yeah, I've put a meeting in the calendar on the 10th, yes.
Okay, lovely. Have we spoken to Andrew and Martin?
Yep, I think I included both of them, although Andrew's not in. Okay,
lovely. Okay, so we'll be putting our heads together for the next precept, looking how the last year has gone and so forth, and coming up with a responsible new precept. Right, community hall. That's me. There was no community hall meeting, but I know that they are still trying to get estimates for the heating, which Dina will be pleased about, and various other projects that they're doing. A lot of painting's gone on, and on the whole, the hall is looking a lot better. So long may it last. Footpaths, Paul Barrow. Burridge. Footpaths.
There we are. No information received, and certainly I only get to walk the footpath near me. I haven't had any feedback. I got the letter from Lee, and I've been looking at the map, but I was surprised that the footpath that runs alongside me actually doesn't go as far as everybody thinks it does.
Well, I know how far it goes.
Yeah.
It goes as far as the stile.
Yeah, that's it. It's but everybody assumes it continues across that little bit of field at the bottom, but it doesn't.
And the little gap that goes through to the railway track doesn't exist. It's that's courteous of the new residents there, the new leaseholders. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they could go out on their hacking rides with their horses.
Yeah. Once they get past the fallen trees.
Oh, right. Fallen trees.
Yeah. Well, I'm the one that does go out and actually walk these footpaths with my Muttley. So, so yeah. Anything further, Paul? No.
No.
Thank you.
Terry, is that still a problem, that fallen tree?
Yeah, still there.
Has it been reported to the Duchy, or?
I don't know. It's when I say it's still a problem, somebody's hacked some branches off, but it's still overhanging. But there's another one further up now. So what it is, it's the willow trees, and of course they've been succumbed to the ivy, and they've tumbled over. So yeah. Okay.
Well, I just wondered if it was something we wanted to try and get involved in, or.
Well, yes and no. I think we can advise the Duchy, but the thing is, it's not within our parish.
No.
But we can also advise Stretton Suggers, whose parish it is, and see if they have anything to say. But I got to be honest, we're talking to people from Stretton Suggers. They would like the whole thing shut down anyway, and nobody allowed down there. So, it's a job to know what to do. To be quite honest, we used to have a very nice chap who used to live in Glebe Close, who used to come down there with his scythe and a wood saw and so forth, and chop off bits and make the footpath nice and accessible to everybody. But unfortunately, he's not able to do that anymore. But it's always been down to volunteers, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, where the footpath ends coincides with our parish boundary, doesn't it? But where the stile gate is by the old railway line,
absolutely,
that's our parish boundary. If it's beyond there, if it's actually on the old sort of section of Roman Road, whether that gets reported to the council, because that's actually a C-class highway.
I thought it was a non-classed road.
I believe it's a C-class.
Is it? Okay.
So, below a B road. But yeah, I mean, it's like I say, it's Stretton Suggers or the adjacent one. The only footpath information I have is, and I do look at it now and again, because I pay close attention to what goes on with the outfall from the dairy farm, and that's the footpath that goes across the field, just the other side of the railway bridge, the old railway bridge.
Right.
And that seems to have disappeared when you get to the bottom. There's no clear route across there, and occasionally the fences go up and come down over there. But that's again not ours. That's outside our parish.
Well, that's right. We want to work together, obviously, but I know the parish has been, Stretton Suggers has been going through difficult times. I can't say too much, and things haven't been quite up to scratch with things being done and notifications and so forth. But I do know that if we here, I'm just having a look footpaths, Paul. I have a thing on my phone that shows the footpath, so I could actually text that to you sometime, and so you can have a look. But yeah, okay. Anything more on footpaths? No. Shops and businesses. Dot's not here. I've been around the shops, past the shops with my wee dog, I haven't been in the shops, but the everything seems to be okay, except for it's very untidy. The car park's got a massive hole in it again, and though most of the shopkeepers there have trimmed the hedges back and so forth, where the doctor's surgery is has not been done, which is nothing new. I am actually got a meeting on Friday, and if I see the practice manager, I've been instructed by Paul to mention it. So,
Lee.
But Lee, sorry, Lee. So that's what I will do. Other than that, the only thing we can do is send them a letter, which we do on a regular basis, but it doesn't seem to get us very far. Any further comments on that, please? No. Thank you. Right, War Memorial. Anything, Dina? Can't see you. Anything, Dina?
You need to unmute, Dina.
Dina, unmute, please. Hello, Dina.
Hello. I missed out. I was saying I missed out on the earlier conversation about the Remembrance Day parade walk the hill, which I understand is not going on now. Now, the other issue around that is if it rains, there's a big puddle that goes right across the school gates, and it's quite deep. And you can just look out today, it's there.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of rain to get it, so I think that's something that may be addressed before then.
Okay.
Somehow, if there's any drainage around there.
Can we ask the Alpha Beta to do that, Lee?
Yeah, I don't think there's a drain there, is there?
I don't know. We need to.
I couldn't see one, but
there must be something.
It's on the entrance to the school. We talked about the entrance there as you come up the main road.
Yeah.
That's been an ongoing issue for about 20 odd years. That has. There is a drain on the main road, and they have addressed the problem over the years, but it seems to be coming back all the time. The worst case scenario is it tends to go down the hill towards the school, the floodwater from there. So it does need to be addressed.
Okay.
Well, just leaving the big puddle across there for people to walk through to get into any service that might occur on Remembrance Sunday.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is about the decorating the War Memorial again. Are we doing that this year? I presume we'll put some poppies and wreaths around as well.
Have you heard anything, Rana, from the other charities, the RBL and?
I haven't heard anything.
Rana, we've lost you.
We can hear you, we can't see you.
I was trying to find my microphone. I found it. I haven't heard anything from anybody at all. I think it'd be quite nice to make a focal point of it. It is an important year as well. So,
well, I Parish Council, we ordered a wreath, Lee?
Yeah.
Well, the Parish Council will have a wreath. I will have a Safa one. And I was going to ask Dina if she would do the Parish Council one, as she is the memorial representative. Yeah. What would you do it, Dina?
I will. Yeah.
Has anybody got any objections to that? Okay. So if we just for record, if we have a proposal that Dina lays the wreath for the Parish Council, Bex and anybody else, please. Seconder. Thank you, Paul. So, okay. Sorry, Dina. Anything else, Dina?
Don't think so.
Thank you. Flood alleviation scheme. Well, you heard what Lee had to say. Is there any further on that, Lee?
No.
Okay. Schools, Rana.
Nothing really. Nothing that I can report publicly.
Okay. That's ominous. Roman Park. Lee, anything on that?
We had a good update from one of the play providers' presentation of their ideas for the Roman Park. We've got one more play provider to send in their plans, and then once we've got it all together, we're going to have a meeting, a subcommittee meeting, and then finalise what we want to do with the Roman Park, which will come back to council to look at and review and approve, and then it'll go out to the village to look at and approve. So that's where we're at with that. A bit later on the agenda, there's a couple of items that need repairs before the winter really sets in, which we need to get ideally approved, and then we can get repairs done on the roof and the ramp. And as I mentioned earlier as well, the play item that is broken at the moment is in the process of being repaired, so it should be back up in the next couple of weeks. That's it.
Thank you very much. Social club. Paul's not here, is he? I don't think there's anything.
They've done the floor, haven't they, with the ground?
All right. Yes. They've removed the old floor, which had bits of asbestos in it, and it's now been replaced, and it's a safe environment. Okay. Yeah. Asset management. That's myself, Martin, and Paul Warrington.
So we've got the next meeting in the diary for the 10th of November.
Yeah.
And at that point, once we've had that meeting, we'll be able to report back to the council what the plans for repair and maintenance are for the next 12 months for the rebudgeting.
Okay.
And also what plans we recommend with the remainder of the repairs and maintenance budget from this year, from the surveys. So next meeting we'll have a better update.
Have a better picture of it all.
Yeah.
Okay. COVID-19 emergency. Lee.
Just the only item is Rana went to a good meeting, and obviously I've circulated the PowerPoint presentation. We've got an item on the agenda further down, so let's just move on to that in a minute.
Okay. Right, matters carried forward from the previous meeting. Free Council branching out fund progress update.
Okay, so at the last meeting I hadn't been able to get in touch with any tree wardens. I've now managed to get a plethora of them from Herefordshire all get in touch with me all in one go. So we've got about, I think, 8 emails of various people. So what I could do with is somebody to help me with this project rather than me just doing it. I don't know if any councillors have got some time that they could put aside to help out with this project. Yes, no, maybe.
I could help if you like, Lee. You want to contact me and we can arrange to do that.
That'd be great. Because it's going to be. I need somebody else to help me run with it, I think, and rather than just making all the decisions.
Okay. Rana, did you put forward as well for that, or?
Well, I mean, I tapped on my mic because
Okay.
I was just going to ask how much time he was expecting of us.
Okay.
Oh. Probably once a month meeting between now and March, when hopefully the project will come to an end because we'll plant the trees. That sort of thing. That's kind of what I've got in my head. But I just need somebody to help, and you'd be ideal because we need people. We need young people, so we need people from the school or the nursery to help with the planting, because that's the whole idea of the grant, is to get young people involved with planting trees. So,
what are you trying to say?
You mean I would be ideal because I'm young?
Yeah. Okay.
No comment.
Yeah. No. So. Yes, I was thinking, and once this meeting's done, I'll forward the emails I've had off the various people, because what we need to do is decide who to go back to and say, yes, please come and help us, because they've come up with some great ideas, but lots of them, so it just needs weeding out down to getting the right person involved, along with yourselves, and then we can come up with a plan, come back to council either next meeting or December with we want to do this. Get it authorised, and then we can go away and do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was including the Magna Theatre Group with Betty, because obviously that's still part of, because that's youths as well, isn't it? Whether it be the children as well. I know some go to the school, but I'm just wondering if them as a collective also to promote them and what they do, because they do use the village hall obviously a lot, and that's the funding they had the other grant. So as a separate thing, they might be a wise one to include in that as well.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you volunteering to help us then, Bex?
Younger than Rana. I know. I'm happy to jump in on it as well. Again, it is that time thing as well. I always try my utmost. So if you think I can bring something to it, I'm happy with that. I think Andrew is very good as well, like you say, because he has that wealth of knowledge of the village. Rana can tap into that too. But if you think there's something I can help with, obviously I'm probably better with planting, I think, really. But I don't know what other limits I have. But if you think there's something I could help with, by all means.
Okay, I just think it's a nice little project we can deliver, and it's good PR. It involves children as well, so other parts of the village. So I think it's a good one. Okay, sorry.
Right, okay. That's very pleasing, and thank you very much, everybody, for volunteering. Matters arising since the last meeting. Consider quotes received for the repair of the changing rooms. We've got a few problems there with the roof, etc. Lee, you've got the full.
Okay, so I've got two quotes for two things. First one, the access into the changing rooms. There's a rotten joist and some woodwork that needs replacing. So that's the first quote on here for £200. And then the second one is there's some isolated repairs that need doing on the roof, resealing of joints and so on. And that's the second quote on here. So that's custom woodwork and carpentry. And then I've got a quote from Paul Warrington, hence he declared an interest in this item further along, and he met with me down there as well. So this is our second quote. So 190 and 285. So if obviously the roof's quite important to try and get done ASAP, and the changing rooms ramp is a trip hazard, and it's rotten, so we really ought to get it repaired ASAP as well. And we've got, as you've seen from the just going from where we've got Roman Park Maintenance Fund, so we've still got funds available there, 4,500 available still. Anybody would like to make a proposal that we go ahead with one of those two quotes?
Which can we see the other quote, please?
So the good and property maintenance, the second one is cheaper slightly, 190 and 285, and then this one's 200 and 295. We don't have to go with the cheapest quote.
Right, sorry, can I see the other one again, please?
495.
Can I see the other slide, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And Paul's is the cheaper quote.
Yeah.
Can I propose we go with Paul's quotation?
Okay. Is there a seconder for that, please?
Martin, second that, or Paul, Courage, or Rana. It's up to you.
Okay, Martin. Thank you. Can I just have because he is a parish councillor, can I just have a show of hands that we're all happy with that?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me just have a look at the other side. Yeah, everybody's happy that side, yeah.
Oh, it's the cheapest quote, Mr. Chairman. So,
well, as the clerk quite rightly said, we don't have to go with the cheapest one. We have to go with the one that's suitable for the work that's to be carried out. But yes, I'm quite happy with both.
Looking at Paul's previous work, he's always been up to a high standard, so that's why I was quite confident in proposing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. If we're all happy with that, we'll move on. That work can now be carried out.
Okay.
Agreement arrangements for Remembrance Sunday. I think we've gone through that. But can we just refresh our minds on what's going to happen? Although, you're still going to go ahead with your service?
So I mean, it'll be an act of remembrance as part of our Sunday worship.
Okay.
Is how I'll call it, and so the numbers thing is a little bit more relaxed, but of course we still have to be very careful. I'll encourage people to wear face masks if they're there, and keep socially distanced. It gets complicated when we're trying to collect people's names and things like that. Yeah. So I may need some to talk to Lee about how we go about that. But otherwise, we will have an act of remembrance with the last post on a CD probably, or music player of some sort. 2-minute silence, followed by the Reveille, followed by the reading of the reading of the names will come first, followed by the laying of the wreath, and some prayers, and a blessing. And if the weather's kind, we might even have a hymn that is sung on a CD rather than because we're not supposed to sing. So it'll be different, short. I won't stand there and preach because I don't think the less we need to keep it short and sweet. I think in order to keep people mixing for as little as time as possible.
Can we put something in the CCN with regard to that, saying unfortunately it will be a small service?
I've already put something about it.
Yeah.
But, so obviously, if we're still able to add or take out things, I can talk to Lisa about that in the morning.
Yes. Well, if we put that, throughout the day, you could come up and put your crosses on poppies and so forth.
Yeah, I've done that. But I've also put about what's happening is around 11 o'clock.
Yes.
But I also mentioned that I hope that we'd be able to walk up through the village, but that's not going to happen. So if we can scrub that bit out of what I wrote for the CCN, and maybe if the Parish Council would put exactly what is planned, or I mean it is all subject to changes. So I mean, with COVID, we don't know for sure.
We might all be in lockdown and nobody allowed out. So
we don't know what's happening, do we really?
No.
Until the day. So at the moment, that's what I think is probably the best way to go. And
it's very disappointing.
Yeah. But,
Just-
we'll pretty up the memorial. We'll put some bunting round and, do something.
Lee, what you can say?
Just on 2 points there. I agreed with Ronna that I would live stream it on Facebook so that people can see the wreaths being laid and the prayers, etc. So that's one thing. But also, I think it's really, because we've got a small space there, it's really crucial that we assess what numbers can go in that space. And if people are in bubbles of 6, then the numbers are fairly flexible-ish. So we definitely need to get people's details about who's coming and who they're coming with for track and trace, because if there is an issue, I've got the app on my phone, and if other people have got the apps on their phones, then fair enough, but not everybody will have that. So we just need to be mindful and careful of that, and I'm quite happy to take people's details if we want to do it like that.
Okay.
Can you organise a QR code for that event?
For the venue?
Yeah.
I'll look into it. I'm sure I can, yeah.
Quite simple. You just have to print one out, and I suppose it probably need laminating because it's wet.
I can do that.
And then people can just tap their phones on it as they walk past it, can't they?
Yeah. The other thing was, you mentioned about decorating the memorial. Clearly, we've got funds available. If we wanted to spend more money as a parish council on doing something a bit extra there, then let me know and we can do that.
I think we've got a lot of stuff already. If I talk to Dory, Dory bought all kinds of things for there for the last, was it 5 years ago? No, I don't know when.
Yeah.
No, it's 2018, wasn't it? So I think she'll be very happy to let us use some of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The CCN hasn't gone to print yet, by the way, so that can be changed.
Right.
So have the British Legion not been in touch with you at all, Rana? Or?
Yeah, no, I had a mailing from them this morning. And what did they say? They were... they weren't saying we shouldn't do it, but what they were saying was that they would not be responsible in any way. So
that tells you the answer, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, they were really saying that branches. Oh, I'm having network problems. I don't know if anyone else is. But they were having. I think what they were saying is that. Branches should not organise anything.
Yes.
So if anybody else wants to, that's fine. But branches will not be responsible for any parades.
Yeah. So if we do what you're doing and what Lee's going to do and so forth, and we can get it into the CCN, then as a duty of care as a parish council and so forth, I think we are doing the right thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Any comments from anybody else, please? No. Okay. Right. No drinks for you this Remembrance blood.
Yeah, it's always the highlight of my Remembrance Day is just raising a jar to the heroes.
You and me both. It's a pity we can't remember it.
Absolutely, yeah. We do the remembrance and then we try to forget.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Community crisis response update. Leo, you go. Oh.
Me again, is it?
Oh, sorry.
My apologies for coming back. Yeah, it was a Zoom meeting I went to, and I missed the first part of it because I had something else on. But really, I think it explained to the way it was quite helpful. I don't know if any of you know, but I'm a member of the Clergy Emergency Response Team. So I've been sort of trained over the last 8 years or so on regular in case there's a disaster. And this crisis thing isn't just about COVID. It's about if there's a flood or anything like that. That's counted as well. And I think they're very organised. Basically, they know what they're going to do and what have you. But I found some of the stuff they were talking about when they got onto COVID very interesting because they are organising themselves now. This is the council are organising themselves now for the vaccination against COVID. So they did say, and I made a note to this, and I've said it to a lot of people now, that you have to have had your flu jab before you can have your COVID vaccination. And there has to be 30 days between the two. Everybody else is supposed to have a flu jab. But I think they've stalled at the moment because there's a real shortage of the flu vaccination. And talking to one of the receptionists as I went to collect a prescription for somebody last week, they're hoping to do the over 50 as from November sometime, when they're hoping to get some more vaccine. So that's basically what I'm telling you. Make sure you have your flu jabs. You won't get a vaccine for the otherwise. And he also said, this doctor from Hereford also said that if you get flu, you will probably get COVID because it's kind of, you have one, you're most likely going to get the other. And if you get the both together, you will die. And I thought that was really shocking. So it's important that we encourage everybody to be vaccinated.
Yeah. Oi, gosh.
Not the dog. The dog's all right. The dog.
You've upset him now.
Oh yes, but there was also this thing that they were talking about. We should have a community resilience emergency plan, and I don't remember that we have we? Did we have one? No, maybe not, because you're showing there was an example set out, and it was this Gooseberry Parish Council one, which was considered a very good one.
This one.
And that we could use that as the model. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've had a look at this, and essentially it's an emergency plan that covers, as Rana has said, all aspects of any type of emergency, from flooding to COVID, fallen trees, loss of power.
One of the reasons I became a member of the Clergy Emergency Response was because my thought was the most likely big disaster we could have is a helicopter down.
Mm.
Yes.
That's exactly what I said to Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if the Parish Council wants me to produce a community resilience plan for Credon Hill based on this, I'd be quite happy to do that. Obviously, helicopter crash would be in there as well. And I think the idea is really so that we have thought about and planned for any potential emergencies, and we have therefore contact details for first responders, trained first aiders, information in here about where the defibrillators are. People with 4x4s, they haven't got a 4x4 owner here. I don't know if we can find anyone to help with that. Tree surgeons, obviously fallen trees, electricians, heating engineers, so on. So it's quite a comprehensive plan. One of the key things we would need is some volunteers for people to be part of the first response team as such. So obviously I'd be the parish clerk. Then you'd have the emergency coordinator, so the person who's effectively in charge of coordinating the plan should the plan be needed. And then you have other helpers essentially within the plan that help coordinate and contact the right people. So over to councillors, really, I guess.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, what you have to say.
Obviously, flood's something that's been an issue recently, and from our assessments and observations, it's something we could perhaps intervene in and reduce flood risk. And perhaps that does suggest that there's other areas where we can help as well, should there be an emergency.
Is there any comments, ladies and gentlemen?
That's a really good idea. If Lee has got the time and he again gets sort of spammed with that, and hopefully then you can cut and paste and use that document mostly like that, Lee, or have you got?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a good model, I think, to use, but I would take advice from both the Pauls, who are experts in the risk assessment side of things and so on.
I think it's sensible because, like you say, if something were to happen in the village, rather than everyone running around like headless chickens, if there is that thing where it's as with anything, isn't it? You need a good leader and having something as to direct and then disseminate information through. I think that's a really good idea, as long as you don't mind giving up your time, because again, I feel once again you are diligently doing that. So if you don't mind doing that, I would appreciate that for everybody. I think it's a great benefit. What a great idea to put forward. Thank you.
Well, Ron came up with the idea.
Yeah. Do you think it would be a good idea to put something in the CCN that we're contemplating a plan, and any volunteers in various areas, electricians, chainsaws?
Maybe you could have it as like your village needs you, with the propaganda, the big finger pointing. Like you say, the volunteers of things but your village needs you and your skills. Because, like you say, there's a plethora of various people here with various skills and abilities, and I'm sure people would be more than willing to help if, I think everybody has shown that kindness over COVID and, stepping forward and helping others. So I think that would be a really good idea.
Yeah.
Happy to help out with the risk assessment, Lee, and putting it together.
Great, thank you.
Want to get in touch? Yeah.
And the 4x4 with a winch on it.
A 4x4 with a winch on and wading capability.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing they haven't got on their plan, is someone with a 4x4 response. I think we'll have quite a few in the village.
And a rubber dinghy.
And a dinghy on a trailer.
Yeah.
And a chainsaw.
So, joking aside, though, this is where we need to sort of put together all the bits and pieces of where all these items are that people would be willing to let us use, on an emergency.
Yeah.
Even if it's not us, we can hand it to the emergency services so they know where to go to find these items. It's good.
Okay, so I will look at getting a draft document circulated for the next meeting.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, I've just accidentally closed the agenda when I tried to click on it.
Can I go back to the next slide?
Yeah, no. JS, I'll call you.
I think there was only one other item, wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. Review of the website, accessibility problem policy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I circulated this probably yesterday, wasn't it? Essentially, the legislation's changed with respect to websites, and we need now to publish an accessibility statement. The accessibility statement needs to be in a prescribed format, which is the format that I've used. If you remember a couple of meetings back, I explained that I'd already implemented on the website a little man that sits at the side where people can click on the little man, and that allows you to change the size of the text, the contrast on the screen, and various other things to do with different types of eye condition and visibility. So a lot of what is required for visually impaired people, we're already there with. What we don't have is compliance from a screen reader point of view. So if somebody is completely blind, then they use generally a screen reader, which essentially reads out the website to them. So there's old PDF documents on the website and Word documents and so on that a screen reader will not read properly to them, and the same with images. It needs to have a description and so on. So at the moment we're partially compliant with the legislation, which is fine, and as long as we say in the statement that we are partially compliant, which we do, that's okay. The other thing is you can argue as well regarding going back and updating old documents that there's a disproportionate burden to do that, which in our case there is. So essentially, if I was to go back and update all of the old minutes, going back 7 years or whatever, it's going to take me about 3 weeks just to do the minutes. So there's obviously a disproportionate burden on us to go back in time and make everything accessible. But what we can do there is we can say, well, actually, if somebody wants to get in touch with us and ask for a particular set of minutes or a particular agenda item or whatever in an accessible format, then they can just contact me and I'll do it for them. So that's essentially what our statement says in English. Does that make sense? Any questions?
Yep.
No?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Good.
Anybody else got a comment? Any comments on that? Yeah.
So we're happy to publish that then.
Yeah.
Good.
I think it's the only thing we can do, Lee, because it would cost excessive money to go back. As long as we publish that, we can assist.
I've done quite a bit of research on this, and if anybody else, it's not on this laptop actually, it's on the parish laptop. But if anybody else has any requirements to make documents accessible, I can recommend a good add-in for Word that basically does a check for you, and it tells you what bits need to be done to make the document accessible. And it's quite a good little add-in. So if you need that, just let me know. I can.
Okay. Okay. I think we've come to an end there, haven't we?
Yeah, so we're public question time.
Have we got anything from the public?
I'm just checking, Terry.
Thank you.
It's a bit of time to load. Nothing on Facebook. Nothing on YouTube. Somebody liked the video. So, no.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for attending the meeting. The next meeting will be 7:30 p.m. on the 18th of November. I assume it will be virtual. So, yeah, we'll see you all again soon. I think we've made some difficult decisions tonight, but good decisions. So now